Have you heard of a game called Deus Ex Mankind Divided? In this game, you play as Adam Jensen, an Interpol super agent that is more machine than man. He has augmentations like blades that shoot out of his arms, the ability to see through walls, super strength, he can freefall from very big heights without getting a scratch, he can become invisible, and many more. So he's basically Inspector Gadget if you ask me. The game begins with us having to intercept a guns deal in Dubai. First, I am given the option to decide if I want to go in lethal or non-lethal. I choose lethal, so they give me a revolver and drop me on the roof of the building where the guns deal is happening. Here I start to make my way inside the building. The game immediately teaches me how to manipulate heavy objects, how to jump, how to punch a hole in the wall, and how to hack. Hacking is a very important mechanic of the game. It's a mini-game where you have to capture some points called nodes before the time runs out and the security trace program catches you. Hacking is mainly used for opening doors and accessing computers. Next up, I find myself in the room with the first 3 enemies. I quietly move through cover and knock out the first 2 guys, and the third one I shoot straight in the head. Depending on the situation, there are many ways you can approach an encounter with the enemy. You can avoid fighting whatsoever, getting past enemies just by sneaking around and never having to shoot one bullet. Or, on the other hand, the game gives you the proper tools to viciously murder everyone. But that's up to you. Just keep in mind that it will affect the outcome of some dialogues and interactions with some NPCs. Or you can talk your way around some situations. For example, when I had to get a calibrator from this mafia guy, I could have entered guns blazing and kill everyone, or sneak to his office and get it that way. But instead I chose the correct dialogue options that led him to willingly give me the calibrator.
It is like I am always telling him, you can get a lot accomplished just by having a conversation. I will let you have the calibrator.
When sneaking, you can use hacking to disable security cameras. You can crawl through vents, find secret passageways, climb on rooftops, quietly take out enemies, and you have augmentations like cloaking that makes you invisible and leg silencers that cancel every sound you make while walking, running or jumping. This game also has cover mechanics. When you enter cover, the camera turns to third person, which is a good thing because it helps you to be more aware of the enemies that surround you. This game also has a very unforgiving combat. You can't just run around guns blazing like you do in Call of Duty. Enemies do a lot of damage and you will die very quick if one catches you from behind or if you peek from behind the cover for more than 3 seconds. But this is why you have augmentations like Typhoon, which launches explosive projectiles all around you, the Titan Shield, which protects you from all damage, the Nano Blades and many others that help you get out of heated situations. So, going forward, I take a leap of faith from a really high place and I find a vent, but in order for me to reach it, I place a big crate underneath and climb on it. A move that really shows that I am a real gamer. I get out of the vent and I end up in a room full of enemies. Here I start headshotting everyone like there is no tomorrow. It's like I am a headshot machine. You can even call me Shroud from now on. But I still died once. I tried knocking out one of the enemies by throwing a pack of beers at him, but I missed, so I still had to go through the trauma of shooting someone. Next, I reach the place where the gun deal takes place, but it gets interrupted before we could intervene by some mysterious masked men that try to make it off with the weapons. So I quickly jump down there, I do a superhero landing and I try to stop them. Apparently I was taking too long and one of our guys died. And for some reason, I got blamed for that.
It's Singh! Repeat, Singh is dead! Oh, good fucking job, Jensen, you fucking bellend!
Like, what was that for, man? I'm trying my best, man. Eventually, I reach the chopper with which the bad guys planned to escape with. And I disable it, but the sandstorm hits and it cuts to black. After that, 1 week later, we arrive in the Czech Republic, in Prague, with the train because other means of transportations were too expensive. I can't afford that shit, man. They cut half my salary for that one dead guy.
Fucking bellend!
Anyways, the train station gets attacked by terrorists and it cuts to the next day. Here I wake up in my apartment where I take a shower, I take a piss and I start doing my secondary job as a cam girl. After that I get dressed and before I go to the office, first I need to stop by my good buddy Kohler to fix some augmentations that got damaged in the train station explosion. On the way I get stopped by a police blockade. One of the officers tells me that I need a permit to pass, so he sends me to this guy that sells them. Here I find that they are scamming people and the officers that stopped me are not even real policemen. So me being the hero that I am, I start killing every single one of them and I enter their base of operations. Here I find this girl that tells me that she was held against her will and forced to make those permits. Like I am going to believe that. After that I go and talk to the real police and tell them about the scammers, so they take matters into their own hands and they shoot down the criminals. I took down a criminal organization and I made an old man climax all in one morning. What a productive day. After that I finally go to Color's house where a bunch of mafia goons were looking for him. And once again I go on a murderous rampage. After I killed every single one of them, I find the secret doorway to Color's sex dungeon. Here he puts me on a chair and he reboots my system and almost kills me. So he helps me to get up and I finally make my way towards the office where Director Miller is waiting for me. I casually take the metro to the west part of the city where the office is. Arrived at the office, I talk to Miller and he sends me to the train station that was attacked yesterday to collect evidence that can tell us who was behind the attack. When I arrived there, the police state won't let me through, so I sneak around the back where I gently punch one of the guards in the neck and I tase another one. But a security camera spots me and now everyone is out to get me. I quickly run back into the vent and I wait until everyone counts down. I punch the living soul out of one more guard and I run past the camera where I find a secret passage that gets me closer to my objective. I sneak past some more enemies and I get the evidence that I need. I crawl through some nearby vents and I get out. Here I wanted to put my gun away, but I misclicked and I accidentally threw a grenade. Fortunately, nobody realized it was me, so I got out of there before anyone could notice. I take the evidence to the lab and after that I meet with Miller in the backyard. From here he sends me to Golem City. Here he wants me to kidnap the leader of ARC, an illegal organization that is blamed for the bombings. I go to talk to Sokol, my contact, but I find out from his wife that he's been locked up in jail, so I go and sneak into the jail. Here I find and talk with Sokol and he sends me to this merchant who can get me inside ARC and so happens to be one of my targets because I am also a hitman for the mafia.
There is a shopkeeper named Galwa in the city markets. I want you to eliminate him.
But I spare his life and in return he shows me the way into ARC. I go through his back door, I climb a ladder and I enter ARC territory. Here I talk with this big fella who calls me shiny and tells me to go back, but of course I don't listen and I proceed to go further into their base. Not long after I see that Sokol, my contact from jail, is actually an ARC member and he warns everybody about my presence and about my objective to kidnap their leader. I feel so betrayed. So I sneak up behind him and I tell him that snitches get no bitches and I drive my blades into his chest. After that all the enemies get alerted and another bloodshed begins. So I fight my way through all the enemies and eventually reach their leader. And he is no other than Jeff Bezos. Just kidding, it's Mark Zuckerberg. Nah, I'm just kidding, he's actually this guy. He is a doctor. I convince him to willingly come with me and turn himself in to the authorities, but just as we were about to leave, he does this weird thing with his hands and dies. This time I swear it wasn't me. everybody still wants me dead because they think that I killed their leader. So I run on the rooftops, where I make a very dramatic jump to the aircraft, and when I turn around, I see that all along the real bad guy was none other than Leafy. Well, that's it for this video, hope you enjoyed, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.